Chosen one, everything is about to make sense. You've been walking through days that felt like delay, like silence, like wandering in circles, but now the alignment has begun. You are no longer bound by man-made timelines or worldly deadlines. You have stepped into something higher. You are in God's timing now. The moment you felt forgotten was actually the moment you were being hidden for protection, being refined for purpose. You thought time was running out, but time has only just started working for you. This is not just a new chapter. It's divine rhythm. It's divine order. It's divine release. Everything is finally catching up to what heaven already declared over you. Before we continue, take a moment to pause and honor this sacred shift. Breathe deeply and allow your spirit to respond. In the comments, write your deepest and most sincere wish, the one that keeps whispering to your soul, and seal it with 777. That simple act becomes a signal, a code, a holy declaration that you are aligned with divine timing. This is how the spiritual becomes tangible. When you write it down, when you speak it into the world, you send energy forward. You engage the flow. You prepare the ground for the harvest. Let this moment be the one where your faith becomes motion. Now, chosen one, like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. It's important to understand God's timing rarely feels like your timing. It's not rushed. It's not chaotic. It doesn't bend to fear or pressure. Instead, it unfolds in sacred patience, in divine intelligence, in wisdom far beyond comprehension. And now that you've stepped into it, your steps will begin to make sense. The detours, the heartbreaks, the paused plans, they were never punishments. They were positioning tools. They were divine architecture. What looked like delay was actually protection. What felt like silence was sacred orchestration. You were being prepared for what you couldn't carry before, and now you're ready. But readiness doesn't mean perfection. It means surrender. It means you no longer demand control over every outcome. It means you trust that what's unfolding, even if unfamiliar, is still divine. God's timing requires a deep letting go of urgency, letting go of comparison, letting go of how you thought life should look by now. Because God's plan doesn't follow trends, it fulfills truth, and your life is now aligning with that truth piece by piece, moment by moment, beyond what anyone else can see or measure. You may begin to notice strange shifts happening in your reality. People leaving without warning. Opportunities closing that you were certain were yours. Doors opening in places you never considered. Don't panic. That's divine timing at work. It's heaven rearranging the pieces of your life to match what you've been prepared for. It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's not chaos. It's cleansing. You're not being punished. You're being aligned. The old timeline is breaking so that the divine one can finally take over. In divine timing, acceleration happens without warning. You can go from overlooked to spotlighted in a single day, from ignored to essential, from stuck to soaring. Don't be surprised when favor shows up where you didn't sow, when blessings chase you that you didn't expect. This is the reward of obedience, of quiet perseverance. You didn't need the world's applause. You kept walking when no one was watching. You stayed faithful. And now the spiritual cycle has completed and the reward is inevitable. You'll feel something unfamiliar in your chest. Peace. Not the peace that comes from understanding everything, but the peace that comes from not needing to. This is what God's timing brings. A peace that anchors you when the world is rushing. A peace that protects your mind when others are losing theirs. This peace isn't passive. It's powerful. It holds space for your calling. It prepares the soil for your growth. Don't trade it for panic. Don't sacrifice it for someone else's expectations. Protect it. It is proof that God's hand is on your life. There may be moments when things move too fast, Blessings will come quicker than you can process. Opportunities may overwhelm you. That's okay. You prayed for this. You were born for this. You don't need to catch up. You just need to stay present. When divine timing moves, it moves in waves. It doesn't wait for your comfort. It moves according to purpose. You must become comfortable with rapid transformation, with unexpected elevation, with receiving without doubting. The moment is here and you are in sync. You will also feel people shifting around you. Some will celebrate you. Some will question you. Some will walk away. This is part of divine timing too. Not everyone is assigned to every season of your journey. Some were there for the waiting room, but not the door opening. Let them go without guilt. Release them without bitterness. God's timing not only brings new things, it removes what no longer fits. This is the refinement of your circle, the purification of your space. Honor it. Embrace it. As you walk deeper into divine timing, you'll notice your thoughts changing. You'll speak differently. You'll carry yourself with more stillness, more clarity. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. You're aware that your life is no longer random. Every conversation, every delay, every meeting is loaded with purpose. There's no such thing as just another day anymore. You're living under divine orchestration. You're moving with sacred precision that changes how you view everything. That's the shift. And don't be surprised when new ideas begin to flow. Dreams you buried begin to breathe again. Things you forgot you wanted will rise back up. That's not nostalgia. It's timing. Those ideas couldn't bloom before because the season wasn't right. But now the ground is fertile. Now the air is ready. Now you're aligned. So act on the idea, make the call, start the project, write the vision, move with faith. The hour has come. Divine timing isn't just about when things happen. It's about why they happen when they do. You're not late. You're not behind. You're not missing anything. You are precisely where you are meant to be. Everything before this moment was not a mistake. It was a setup. The frustration you felt, the unanswered prayers, the paused dreams, they weren't wasted. They were roots, growing underground. You couldn't see it, but your spirit was being anchored. So when the shift arrived, you wouldn't collapse under the weight of your own destiny. This is why things didn't happen when you wanted them to. If they had, you would have rushed into them unprepared, unsure, unstable. You would have seen success as validation, not responsibility. But now you understand. You understand that what's coming isn't just for your comfort, it's for your calling. And calling requires strength, humility, discernment, all of which you now carry, not because life was easy, but because you were faithful in the silence. That silence wasn't absence, it was incubation. You're in a season where timing becomes your greatest weapon. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to chase anything. What's yours will flow to you because the current has changed, the wind has shifted, the gates of alignment have swung open. When you live in God's timing, even delays become blessings. Even detours become shortcuts. What others call coincidence, you'll recognize as confirmation. That's the power of moving in sync with something higher than yourself. You'll be tempted to rush, to overthink, to compare your journey to someone else's. Resist that temptation. It's a trick of the old system, the one you no longer belong to. You're not here to match anyone's pace. You're here to honor the rhythm that was written just for you. Others may not understand why you're calm when things look uncertain, why you're still when the world is scrambling. But that's because you hear something they don't. The quiet ticking of divine timing that says, "Be still. I've got this." Chosen one. Your greatest asset right now is your trust. Not in people, not in circumstances, but in the divine orchestration that is holding all of this together. You don't have to understand how everything will unfold. You just have to believe that it will, and it will. This is not wishful thinking. This is sacred strategy. Every step you take in faith becomes a declaration. I trust the pace. I trust the process. I trust the one guiding me. There's a reason things are starting to fall into place. A reason people are reaching out. A reason doors are creaking open that were bolted shut for years. It's because you've aligned, not by striving, but by surrendering. You let go of timelines, and in doing so, you entered eternity's flow. That's the sweet spot. That's where miracles aren't rare. They're routine. That's where breakthroughs aren't begged for. They're scheduled. And even now, the divine calendar is unfolding. Some of the dates are still hidden from your view, but don't let that trouble you. What's concealed is being protected. There are blessings on delay, not because you're unworthy, but because the world isn't ready for what you carry. Sometimes the pause isn't about your preparation, it's about theirs. And that's what divine timing ensures, that when you show up, everything else is already in place. You'll start noticing divine nudges more often. Now, a thought that won't let go, a name that keeps coming to mind, a dream that feels louder than life. These aren't distractions, they're instructions. Follow them. Divine timing often whispers before it shouts. It won't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives in a quiet thought that keeps tapping on your heart. Don't ignore it. That's your cue. That's the next step in the orchestration. Not everyone can walk with you in this season. Some will fall away gently. Others might resist the change in you. Don't fight it. When you're in divine timing, misalignments become obvious. Conversations feel off. Rooms feel too small. Energy feels heavy. Pay attention. These are signs that God is making room for something greater. And to receive the greater, you have to release the familiar. That's not loss. It's upgrade. Every time you trust the timing, something in the spiritual realm activates. The things that used to require struggle now flow with ease. Not because the challenges disappear, but because your alignment creates grace. Grace for decisions, grace for relationships, grace for growth. You're no longer operating from force. You're moving from favor, and favor changes everything. It clears paths. It silences critics. It opens doors no man can shut. So don't be discouraged if you don't have all the answers. You're not supposed to. That's the beauty of divine timing. It unfolds piece by piece like a sacred puzzle. Your only job is to stay present, to keep your heart open and your spirit tuned. The rest is being handled. You are no longer in the waiting season. You are in the receiving season, but you must stay aligned to see it all. The most powerful thing about divine timing is that it doesn't ask for your permission. It just moves suddenly without warning. And the ones who are ready, who have been quietly preparing, trusting, releasing, are the ones it sweeps up into something far greater than they ever imagined. That's where you are now. You're not waiting for your moment. You're living in it. The signs have already begun. You just have to stop questioning if it's real. The moment you truly understand that you are in God's timing, your posture shifts. You stop chasing. You stop trying to manufacture momentum. Instead, you stand still in your spirit and let purpose find you. And it will in conversations, in places, in dreams that once felt random. Nothing is random anymore. You've entered the space where everything is intentional. The whispers, the delays, the pull toward unfamiliar territory. It's all choreography, a spiritual map you're finally allowed to see. You'll notice that the energy around you changes too. People will treat you differently. Some will feel drawn to your peace without knowing why. Others will feel intimidated by your clarity. And that's okay. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to be obedient. You're here to walk in a rhythm that doesn't apologize for being divine. And obedience to that rhythm may feel lonely at times, but it will never leave you lost. Not everyone will understand why you've stopped fighting to be seen. Why you've stopped explaining yourself. That's because they're still trying to force their way into doors that were never meant for them. You've learned the art of surrender. You've learned that when something is truly yours, you don't have to compete. You just prepare. You just align, and you trust that divine timing will do the rest, because it will. There's a reason you've been feeling an urgency in your spirit. Not panic, but purpose. It's because heaven is moving, and your soul can feel it. The things you've been carrying inside you, visions, passions, silent prayers, they're no longer meant to sit dormant. They're meant to move, to rise, to take shape in the physical world. And now that you've stepped into the right timing, the resistance is lifting, the clarity is returning, the way forward is opening. This is where you must become ruthless about what you allow into your atmosphere. You can't afford to entertain doubt. You can't carry old beliefs into this new timing. You must protect your peace, guard your energy, and refuse to negotiate with fear. You're not who you were 6 months ago. You're not who you were last week. You've evolved spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and your timing has caught up with your transformation. The world will try to convince you that success comes through hustle, through constant striving. But you've learned a deeper truth, that divine timing produces more in one quiet act of obedience than years of frantic motion ever could. You've seen what happens when you move in your own strength. And you've seen what happens when you wait, listen, and move with intention. One leaves you drained, the other leaves you elevated. Sometimes divine timing means waiting. Other times it means leaping when it makes no sense. The hard part is knowing which season you're in. But that's where discernment becomes your compass. You'll feel it. You'll know that nudge won't leave. That door will open without effort. That peace will land in your chest like a confirmation. Trust those signals. They are not emotional noise. They are divine indicators. There will be days when the enemy tries to convince you it's too late, that you missed your moment, that you're too behind to ever catch up. But here's the truth. Nothing delayed can be denied when you're in God's timing. What's meant for you will circle back. What escaped you before was only premature. It wasn't rejection, it was grace. And now that the timing is right, nothing can stop what's already been set in motion. Chosen one, this is the part of the journey where you begin to walk like you know who you are. You stop begging and start commanding. You stop shrinking and start rising. You stop explaining and start embodying. Because divine timing doesn't ask you to prove anything. It asks you to become everything you were created to be. And the time for that is no longer someday, it's now. When you're living in God's timing, you begin to understand why the pressure was so intense before the promise. Why the storm hit hardest right before the shift. It's because the enemy always tries to strike before something sacred is born. He can't stop what's coming, but he will try to exhaust you, so much that you walk away before it arrives. But you didn't walk away. You stayed, you waited, you trusted, and now the tide has turned. There is something sacred about the moment just before breakthrough. It's quiet, almost eerie. Things may feel still, but don't be fooled. Stillness is not stagnation. It's strategy. It's heaven pausing everything around you just long enough to give you the silence needed to recognize the next divine instruction. Because when it's time to move, it'll happen fast. And only the quiet ones, only the tuned-in ones, will hear the signal. Don't rush this moment. You're not behind. You're not being punished. You're being calibrated, realigned with the original version of you. The one that wasn't shaped by trauma or fear or the world's expectations. You're being returned to the blueprint, the one God wrote before you were ever touched by disappointment. That's what this timing is for. It's not just about getting the blessing. It's about becoming the person who knows what to do with it once it arrives. You're going to start attracting what once eluded you, not because you've become someone else, but because you've finally become who you really are. In divine timing, attraction replaces pursuit. Alignment replaces hustle. Clarity replaces confusion. And peace replaces pressure. That doesn't mean it's always easy, but it does mean it's always worth it. You'll find that your voice changes too. You no longer speak like someone asking for access. You speak like someone who has been given it, There's no more begging in your tone, just gratitude, confidence, purpose. Your prayers shift from desperation to declaration. Your thoughts become bolder. Your steps become firmer. Not because everything is perfect, but because you now understand you were never called to be perfect. You were called to be aligned. And now, you